Hello everybody and welcome back to Encounter Roleplay. My name is Will, I'm a coffee sex icon, and I'm back today with yet another episode of Call of Cthulhu Doors to Darkness. We're back, my friends, for the penultimate episode of this show, so strap in, strap tight, because it's gonna be a big one. Let's go around the cast and crew. The full cast are back with us today, decided to be good friends this time and actually show up to a goddamn session! We're back. Let's go around the cast and crew, let's figure out who we are and who we're playing. We've got Tom, Redundant UK, with us. Tom, how's it going, buddy?
Did you just say you're a coffee sex icon?
It's a whole thing. Don't make me tell the story again.
From?
Also, do you notice how much this mug is like my shirt? That's crazy.
It's like
you're
one
on
with
point
the
with
shirt,
that.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good.
How you doing, Tom?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm not too bad.
Yeah, man.
You know, pretty warm. It's pretty warm. But excited to be here. Excited to. Well, we're getting close to the end now, aren't we? 2 more episodes, and that's it. And that's the end.
It's emotional. It's emotional.
It is. It's very emotional. If you know Call of Cthulhu and you know Encounter Roleplay, it's going to be an emotional end, because it always is.
Absolutely.
It always is. But yes, I'll be playing Sloan, who is he's just a bog standard ordinary guy, you know.
He's just your average
standard
boy.
He's just your average guy. Run of the mill, goes down the store, gets a newspaper, comes home and drinks Will's coffee. Yeah, and I'm excited to play.
Euphemism. Awesome. We have
sexual.
very, very charged. Greg, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, man. Hey, everybody. Yeah, back here to play some Father Carmine. I don't know where we are or what we're doing, but that's really par for the course this season, as I don't even know who I'm playing. But I'm here to get to it. I'm here to get into it. I'm here for one thing, chat, and I'm going to ask your help. You can either hinder me or you can aid me in my quest to help these fine people or aid Father Carmine in destroying one Martin Poole. So let's do this, chat. Let's do this. Get on my back like Yoda and tell me what to do. Let's go.
Man, if I had $1 for every time I heard that. We have Lindy with us tonight. Lindy, how's it going?
Oh, pretty spiffy. It's good to be back from Gen Con. I was Mildred last week, one day of Gen Con, and it was pretty hilarious how many people thought I was an actual old lady until they started talking to me. But I am super excited to actually be an old lady now and play some Call of Cthulhu. I sorely missed it last week, and I'm, again, like Greg, no idea where we are, what we're doing, but I'm sure it'll be great, and I can knit my way through the situations and strangle Martin Poole with a ball of yarn, hopefully. We'll find out. It'll be great.
Awesome. Well, we have Don Fry back with us tonight. Don, how's it going, my friend?
It's great. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to play Luis Delgado, the banker, or whatever his name's going to be today. I don't know. I never thought he would make it this far, and I don't think he'll make it past today. And if he does, I don't think he'll make it past next week. But I love playing them. I love this cast. I'm excited to see how this story goes in Hyperborea. And also, wouldn't like the best plot twist be if Martin Poole was the good guy?
Yeah, he very well be a misunderstood soul just searching for understanding in this great cosmos. And aren't we all really like each other at our core? Aren't we all just people trying to get along, trying to drink excellent coffee? I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm a revolutionary. Maybe I'm a visionary. I'm not to say. We have Pruitt back with us tonight. Pruitt, how's it going, buddy?
It's going great. Now I just want a picture of like a Che Guevara shirt with Will on it holding a cup of coffee. Anyway, I think that would be an amazing shirt. Anyway, I'm Pruitt. I'm loving that I'm here. The whole crew's back. It's good to have the fam back together, just in time to all die a horrible, insane death. More than likely. I will, of course, be playing everyone's favorite cowardly book dealer, Seth Penhollow, who teeters further and further over the edge, at the cusp of the void of his own mind. So we'll see if he goes ahead and takes the plunge today. I'm betting that today is the day, but we'll see. Let's get to it.
We shall see, my friends. Of course, I'll be your keeper of arcane lore tonight on Doors to Darkness. So I'll remind you guys of what happened last time in just a few moments. But first of all, shout outs to our sponsors. First of all, FantasyGrounds.com. Fantasy Grounds are our virtual tabletop of choice. We'll be using the Fantasy Grounds Doors to Darkness pack right now, which is Chaosium created, used on Fantasy Grounds. You can try out their free demo license. And then their full licenses start at just $4. So check them out at fantasygrounds.com to play your own games of Call of Cthulhu and make terrible things happen to your players. Also, of course, whalengames.co.uk is the go-to destination for role-playing games, board games, and war games as well. If you play Warhammer, if you play D&D, if you play any kind of board game, go to whalengames.co.uk and check out their prices. They're up to 20% off the retail value over there, and they do international shipping as well. It's a fantastic site to go for all of your gaming needs. And of course, you guys can interact with today's show. If you haven't followed the show yet, hit the follow button and join us, because when we hit 20 followers today, you guys get to decide something terrible which happens in the game. I give you that promise, chat. And of course, here is the tweet for you guys as well. 20 retweets, and we'll get another viewer decision rocking and rolling. You guys can, of course, donate to affect the game as well by giving players Nat 1s, Nat 20s, Wild Magic Surges, and worse. Dave has already blessed Father Carmine with 4 Nat 20s to assist him in the destruction of one Lieutenant Martin Poole. But that reminds me to remind you guys of what happened last week on the show. We were 2 players down with Father Carmine and our good friend Mildred Crabapple not reappearing. However, our good friends Seth Penhollow, Lewis, and Sloan did reappear back in Matthew's ancestral home. They traveled, being back in the real timeline, day 8 out of 10 for the end of the world, and they traveled back to London, and they had a search round the Great British Library. At the library, in fact, they also have an invitation, I should know. They have an invitation to the Remington Art Gallery, which was signed your father, and sent addressed to your son, his son, aka Sloan. So it seems like Lieutenant Martin Poole has invited everyone to the Remington Art Gallery in London, but they decided to do some poking around first of all. They met with one Francis Urquhart, who was actually revealed to be one of the last alive members of the Believers. He helped them and had done some fair amount of research on the 10 deadly plagues of Egypt and what might be happening right now. While the leaders of the Believers are dead, he had still been working in the library to do some of his own research as well. And through a series of revelations, with Lewis and Seth being somewhat less than forthcoming with their information with Francis, perhaps understandably, came to the revelation that Sloan was indeed the son of Lieutenant Martin Poole, and that something terrible was going to happen on the 10th day. The Necronomicon was going to be summoned into Lieutenant Martin Poole's hands, no matter where it was hidden away, and that there would be a showdown between his son and, of course, the father. They spoke of an ancient Egyptian prophecy that rather than Jesus being sacrificed for humanity's sins, that instead God gave up his own body, his own soul for humanity instead. And no matter what happens on the 10th day, something and someone is going to die. Perhaps the only hope that they have is to destroy the Necronomicon itself before the ritual can happen in just 2 days' time. In order to do so, they would have to travel back to ancient Hyperborea, where the Hyperboreans once owned the Necronomicon, or at least a version of the Necronomicon, as Urquhart believes it appears throughout history as various different magical items, chalices, goblets, circlets, swords. And the ancient Hyperboreans were adept at understanding these tools and were ancient travelers from another kingdom. Luckily for them, they have the ability to travel to different places via our good friend Sloan. Sloan disappeared to go back and get the Necronomicon, but when he reappeared, he found himself in ancient Hyperborea. Now, had a wee conversation with Grandfather Whispers, the being known as Yog Sothoth, who is inside his mind, who believes himself to be a god figure, and kind of told Matthew Sloan that he only sees Lieutenant Martin Poole as a pawn to get what he wants, and that Sloan is the real prize. Seth and Lewis, meanwhile, were fighting Morris, who in this timeline is still alive, managed to survive, dive into a portal, and escape back to ancient Hyperborea. So that's where we find our party, the three of them in this ancient bizarre landscape. And then Grandfather Whispers helped them out a little bit and summoned Father Carmine and Mildred Crabapple to this area because he's such a nice guy and was just holding on to them in the meantime. That's all he was doing. He was just being a really chill bro and just helping them out. And now the five of you find yourselves in ancient Hyperborea. Now, to catch up Greg and Lindy on what Father Carmine and Mildred Crabapple have been going through, endless agony and torture is essentially the précis of what you guys have been experiencing. Luckily now it has come to an end, so it's not quite endless. But all sorts of physical and psychological traumas you've seen while being in the tender care of Grandfather Whispers. And I would like you both to roll me a sanity check. In fact, 2 sanity checks for the stay that you've been having. If you'd like to spend any nat 20s, and please feel free to let me know.
Yes, I'm going to feel free to let you know that I'll spend 2 if you...
Cool.
Okay.
Okay.
I will spend 1 nat 20.
Oh, brave. I like it.
Yeah.
It's really
Well, that is brave. I just looked at my scene again. I'm like, that's real brave. Let's see. Yeah. No, I failed 1. I succeeded on 1. I failed
Good.
1.
Good. Succeeded on 1, failed 1. You lose 4 points of sanity.
Okay. That's
I'm just going
not
to
wrong.
change my rolls so you guys can see my GM rolls. There we go. Cool. So, you guys appear. Now, Mildred and Father Carmine, you've been experiencing this agony when suddenly you are pulled out by Grandfather Whispers himself. And you find yourself standing alongside your companions in an ancient desert-like landscape. In the distance, you can see a city which is floating in midair and upside down. Earth is incredibly hot at this time, baking heat like you're in a desert. And the distant city reminds you of one that you saw in your far future. And Sloan, Lewis, and Seth are here as well.
Well, hello, dearies.
Miss Crabapple, where were you?
Oh, you getting tortured and stuff.
I'm sorry.
torture.
It seemed endless, but then it ended, so I'm better now, I suppose.
That's good.
What have you been
Where
up
are
to? Yes, and where are we?
Oh.
That's a good question.
Well, where isn't really the question. It's when.
When are we?
I don't know. I honestly. Sloan.
Excellent.
Are there any,
Sloan.
are there any
When are we?
signs? I see any signs.
We are in ancient Hyperborea.
But just drops her knitting needles and
You dropped your knitting, Mildred.
Mildred, when you look at the city again, it does instantly remind you of tales of ancient Hyperborea, that perhaps they defied even gravity itself, this ancient group of travelers from another world who settled on our planet long before humans really began to exist and form, tribes. It speaks to you immediately of what you are fluent in their language and the history that you've learned of these people.
I shed a tear. It's so beautiful. I never thought I'd get to see it. Oh, I've studied ancient Hyperborean culture for decades. I'm fluent in the language and everything.
Yes.
I've only caught passing mentions of it. Is it exactly what you read?
It seems, that and more. look, that's it. It's just floating. We theorized such things might be possible, but to see it, I might have a heart attack right here. This is just, so startling. It's beautiful. Let's go and see more.
We have a plan. We came here on purpose. We believe that we may be able to destroy the Necronomicon here in the past, and therefore stop Martin Poole and everything that has occurred.
Whose plan was this?
Well, it was my plan, Father Carmine.
That's all I need to know.
It's good to see you well.
As well as can be expected. Grandfather Whispers is thorough, but he lacks the gumption to see things through, I think. You look well, Mr. Delgado.
Well, we've had quite a day, but I'm doing just fine. We saw your
I'm
friend,
sure.
Morris. In our timeline, he's alive again.
That's fantastic. That was sarcasm.
He allowed you to escape?
No, we had to run through a portal. One of the believers, what was his name?
Urquhart, I believe. I think it was
Urquhart, yes. Urquhart, he sacrificed himself to save us. Very kind man.
Most of my friends in the Believers were quite lovely people.
I'll actually give you this one, Lindy, that Mildred would actually remember fondly of Francis Urquhart. He's a good guy. He worked in England. He's older, so you probably have known each other for a long time.
Okay.
And yeah, he was, someone that you would trust. Surprised to hear that he would be alive, but then if he was undercover, perhaps that means that he's been able to escape the symphony.
What? Glad he was alive, but sorry he had to perish in y'all's escape. He was a good fellow. I've known him for a very long time. He knows his stuff. Very trustworthy.
Yeah, he seemed knowledgeable.
His son, though, we met him in, whatever that castle was in that other world with all of the Germans and
Nazis.
Europeans.
Yeah, the Nazis.
Did you really? That's very interesting to know. Children never know how they're going to turn out, whether they're going to call, whether they'll visit or not visit. But let's just keep going to this Hypermarine stuff. I'm all excited about it.
Children could be killed by organizations.
That too. So many variables.
But only one solution.
Yes, to end procreation. We should go.
Yes, you first. Mildred was like taking the lead. And I was just kind of like, yeah, I'll follow you. We'll find you.
And Seth kind of like with a long look at Delgado, like offers Mildred his arm and starts to walk towards the city. Like,
yeah, she'll accept it.
It's like a long way off, right?
For sure, this is going to be several hours. Okay.
Father Carmine's going to get up to where Matthew is and try to lower his voice to converse solely with Sloane.
Sure.
How are you, my son?
I am as well as can be expected.
And the other two, what are your feelings on them?
Well, you know them better than I do.
Not the question. What are your feelings on them?
I feel that Seth, Mr. Penhollow, is a ticking time bomb. His sanity, well, what's left of it is hanging by a thread, and the gentlest of breezes will tip him over the edge. Mr. Delgato, for a person who is supposedly so normal, seems to be coping rather well. Which is interesting, to say the least.
You trust them?
I do not know them enough to trust them fully.
Hold fast to that, Matthew.
Very well.
They travel with us, but they are not our companions.
And what of Mildred?
An anomaly. She should be dead. For causes beyond what I have seen her go through. She is ancient.
If I'm not
she's
mistaken,
super fucking old.
if I'm not mistaken, is it not considered rude to talk about a woman's age?
No. Not when you're concerned about the entity that is inside it.
And what of you, Father Carmine?
What of me?
How are you doing?
If this were the book of my life, we are in the final chapter, my son.
I believe we're in the final chapter of many of our books.
Not yours.
And Sloane will kind of give a small grin and look to him and look straight ahead and carry on walking.
As the group travels, is there any other conversations that spring up on the walk here? Is several hours long.
Mildred will probably be checking in with Seth because she hasn't seen him in a while. He's, bless his heart, he ain't doing so well the last time she saw him. So, yeah, I pull out, she pulls like the last cookie out of her pocket. Would you care for a cookie, Seth?
Oh, how about we split it?
Oh,
Kind of breaks
all
it
right.
in half and hands her back half of it.
Kind of gums it. Oh, how have your travels been? Feels like forever since I've seen you last.
Oh, well, I mean, good as can be expected. I'm sorry what happened to your friend. He seemed genuinely like a nice fellow.
Well, the Believers have had it rough lately. There's only so long an organization can survive before it's replaced by another. And the Believers have been around for quite some time. Now, you doing all right, dear? I know you've been spending an awful time with Mr. Delgado, and he says some awful off-putting things sometimes.
Kind of like
Slow.
glances over his shoulder.
Yeah.
You know, he's helped get us to this point, I guess. But sometimes says things that frighten me.
I thought as much. I overheard a conversation you had with him and some other fellow in that castle. You seemed very uncomfortable. I just want to make sure that you know that you can always come talking to me if you need to.
Oh yes, I thought we were just trying to lie to get in, to see Poole and maybe help assassinate him. I don't know, but more I listen to Delgado, I think that he might be serious with his aspirations.
It's hard to tell with
Right,
that one.
But it's okay. Because the end's coming for us all, Mildred, so
Yes,
Don't
it
worry about
always is. Dear Angel, I just pat his shoulder.
So does that mean you're
keep holding
the
in there.
last believer?
I thought I was the last believer, and then you found my friend. So maybe there's a couple more of us here and there hidden. I'm one of the last for sure.
I hope so. People will need them now more than ever.
Well, we get to that city. Don't you worry. I'll act as translator in case they don't speak English. They probably won't, because Hyperborean, you see the language nuances, and then she'll probably just go into like a bookwormy, nerdy talking about linguistics.
Yeah, and
stuff.
that actually kind of calmed Seth down a little bit as he started to slip away there at the end. But yes, talk of ancient races and things like that, like kind of bring him back to a little sense of normalcy, and they'll prattle on.
Lewis.
Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead. Tom.
Lewis will follow up and kind of come next to Father Carmine and say, Father, I don't know what to expect with these Hyperboreans, but they may not be friendly. And I am not much of a fighter. Do you have any gas left in the tank? How are you doing?
I'm right as the rain. Sorry to hear about your gas.
Was that a joke, Father Carmine?
Never too late, Mr. Delgado.
No. Perhaps we can start anew, you and I.
What a pleasant thought.
Well, I'm glad to see that you're well and that you're ready to fight if it comes to that.
Oh, always ready. Never quite willing. But if you're worried about how I will perform, know that I'm ready and expecting everything.
That's fantastic to hear. You'll go quiet.
Sloane will kind of go up to where Seth and Mildred, and go up to Seth and go, "Excuse me, Seth. Perhaps if I may assist Mildred for a bit. You seem to be getting tired."
Yeah, of course. And he kind of like steps away.
And Sloane will offer an arm out for Mildred to take,
Ooh,
and kind
Thank
of
you, dearie.
slow the pace just slightly to give a greater distance between them and the... Mildred, I have something to ask of you.
Yes, dearie. What is it? Anything I can do to help?
As you know, Matthew, he is rather emotional at this time. And I feel that it is important that we keep his emotions in check. You have a certain touch about soothing Matthew so that I may come back to the light. Should Matthew resurface, I would ask you to soothe his mind so I may regain control. At this particular part of the story, I feel that logic and reason is paramount over brash emotion. Would you not agree?
Both have a time and a place, but I do think that emotions are getting quite high at this point in time, and we could do with a little logic and reason.
Yes.
I would be more than willing to help you out, Sloane.
Thank you. And if you cannot do that, I have one vial of laudanum left. Should that fail, please. And I will apologize for Matthew in advance, should he do something to attempt to prevent you from doing so.
I'll do my best, so don't you worry about it.
Thank you.
You're like a son. You hang in there, all right? I'd offer you a cookie, but I just split my last one with Seth, so I have to make more spoon.
Yes, perhaps these people we're going to talk to will have some sort of ancient cookie recipe.
Oh, I never thought about an ancient Hyperborean cooking recipe.
Something to look forward to. And
You're pretty sure you could bake cookies in this heat. Actually, it's quite sickening.
They're not
as you
Hyperborean
guys.
cookies.
Exactly. Yeah.
367
So you guys-
perfectly.
As you guys reach the perimeters of the city, which you're staring at and getting closer to, it does not look dissimilar to ancient Egyptian pyramids. Certainly, there are pyramid-like statues and creations, buildings and the like, which are part of the city. However, they are floating in midair and upside down. Everything seems to be defying gravity, and as you get closer, as you step over what seems to be an invisible line, you too find yourselves suddenly turned upside down and walking on the new ground, which is there, completely opposite in gravity to what you were experiencing only moments ago. It's a sickening and highly disorienting moment as you experience this basically a quick turn upside down, as though feels like you're falling for a moment, and then you find yourselves back on your feet, and the ground beneath your feet looks completely normal, and the pyramids all around you look as though they're still floating in midair, but at least now they're the right way up. As this happens, you see something that is flying over towards you. It's humanoid in nature, dark skinned, human looking, and yet immediately you can tell that this is no human that you've ever met before, because of a very fine set of feathered wings on his back, a huge wingspan, as much as any giant eagle. This man is flying over towards you. The feathers themselves are white, and one of the clearest, purest whites that you've seen. He holds in one hand what appears to be a scepter. It doesn't look like a weapon. It looks more ceremonial or of religious significance than anything else. Like almost like a censer bearer. Father Carmine might recognize. And he flies up towards you and meets you in midair. Now, only Mildred is going to be able to understand this because he speaks in ancient Hyperborean. The dialect itself is strange to the rest of you. And even to Mildred, you may well have spoken in it, but you never knew how they spoke it. So you're, catching up pieces here and there, putting sentences together, that kind of thing when speaking to these people. He looks at you for a long moment, and narrows in his eyes on Sloane for a moment, and says, "Who are you? What are
Mildred
you?"
was, we are humans. We have come here from the future.
He almost
He's
smirks at
asking
you.
who or what we are.
Humans. I see. Why are you here?
Mildred's like giddy. She's just like, well, we are here to speak with people who live here, the Hyperboreans, if that's what you call yourselves, that is what we know you as, and gain knowledge.
You speak our tongue. That seems to be a question.
I do. My friends here do not. I've studied your language for decades.
He looks bemused by this information. Then kind of nods. I see. I'm not sure how I can help you.
He's not sure how he can help us, and he's impressed that I can speak your language.
What is that noise you're making?
Oh, I'm translating for my friends so that they don't feel left out of the conversation.
What language is it that they speak?
We call it English.
I have not heard of this.
It just won't come around for several thousand years. Many thousand years.
I see.
Much information of your culture has been lost in that time, and we are trying to prevent a calamity from occurring. We believe that your people might have some of the knowledge we seek.
Why is this of concern?
He asks why is this of concern, the calamity that's about to strike.
Because it will kill millions upon millions of innocent souls.
Yes, well, that's one answer. I don't think it'll be good enough for him, but we'll try it. Well, mainly it will kill millions of innocent souls, and
When you speak English, it seems to almost like offend his ears to be hearing this sound.
yeah.
It's almost like you could, like, you know, when you feel like nails down a chalkboard. He's like, you can visibly wincing at hearing this noise. What was your answer, Lindy? Sorry.
It would kill millions of innocent souls, and I also don't believe it's time for the end of the world. It's being rushed. Called
So
in too early.
interesting. There is no word for millions in ancient
Okay.
Hyperborean.
Is there like many thousands? Is there?
They basically have small, medium, and
Okay.
large. Essentially,
Okay.
they have these three categorizations.
All right, I should say large, or very large.
How many galaxies?
That's an X. I can't claim to. Oh, can I make an astronomy
Surely-
check to see if it would just
Yeah, go
affect
ahead.
ours? 'Cause Mildred, we did see that the galaxy, the sky. Mildred isn't sure if that's the only one that's gonna get fucked up. Let me grab. That's an extreme success. I know my astronomy.
Yeah, you don't. No. You certainly list one. Probably others. But you couldn't say that. You couldn't speak to this
Okay.
is millions. Or, as far as you know, this is definitely Earth is affected by this, and presumably the galaxy in which we're in.
Yeah.
Outside of that, it's
Don't know.
anyone's guess, really.
Yeah, she says, I don't know exactly how many. It is beyond our knowledge at this time. We don't have means of traveling to other galaxies and seeing how many will be affected easily.
This information seems to trouble him and confuse him. Surely you do not speak just to this dirt.
Well, we don't know how much dirt is going to be affected. Definitely this dirt. Probably others. We don't know how many others, but others for sure.
He seems confused. I see.
We're not a smart race. We're not an all-knowing race of
He
people.
kind of nods, like, as,
Yeah.
understanding that you guys are, like, fucking dumb as far as he's concerned. Like,
Yeah. This is
Kind of
why we
nods.
come for help and assistance and knowledge, because we lack a lot of knowledge.
ever has it been the way of your people to seek out ours? Perhaps I can help. Come with me.
And she's gonna try Latin to Sloane. Maybe it doesn't offend his ears as much. He says, "Come with him. You might be able to help."
Sloan will nod and follow on.
Mm-hmm.
Will, would Father Carmine be able to make some type of roll here? Basically, he's
Sure.
looking for any type of religious distinctions between this person in front of them and the early descriptions of the seraphim, the angels of God.
Right. I won't even make you roll. Like, this guy looks like a straight up angel to you. Like, in as far as artwork goes back in terms of like drawing angels, this guy is like the classic image of what you'd suggest an angel looks like. Even the scepter that he's holding looks like, a religious scepter, like a censer bearer, that kind of thing. Immediately strikes you as, he's flying, he's got wings on his back, and as far as you can tell, that's, you're in an upside down land right now. So, like, yeah, this guy would immediately strike Father Carmine as something or someone of religious significance.
Does he have a weapon beyond the censer? Does he have a sword or any type of dominant item that he has with him?
He doesn't seem to. It looks like the scepter is his like main tool that he has on him. He hasn't used it yet. It strikes you that it could be magical and it could have some kind of otherworldly effect outside of him just holding it. Presumably, it serves some kind of function. You haven't seen him use it yet, though.
Father Carmine will whisper well below the ability for anybody around him, next to him or anything, to be able to hear, but he is going to whisper, "Michael," to see if there's any reaction from the winged person. Angel.
Yeah, it turns to look at you and looks at Mildred and said, "It seems like one does speak our language."
Perhaps I was mistaken. He never let on that he knew anything.
Well, as you mentioned, you are of inferior intelligence.
We definitely are. I will not claim anything otherwise.
He kind of nods towards Father Carmine and continues his flight path onwards.
Mildred's looking at him like, giving the eyes like you speak Hyperborean? You never said anything?
If he can get close enough to her, he's going to. Whispering doesn't work. So he can catch up. He says to Mildred and presumably to the angel,
It's the Archangel Michael.
Oh, that makes some things make more sense.
He gets to a pyramid, and you guys are walking, he's flying, and he waits for you there for about 5 minutes until you guys catch up. He's not a good convoy NPC.
Hey, at least we're
the
not
pyramid
waiting
is like-
for the... That's how it usually
he's not
goes.
like behind, yeah.
I'll take it.
He doesn't, for some
He's
reason,
awful on
just
escort
walk
missions.
in some kind of zone, yeah. He's like flying up. The pyramid itself is like 100 feet in the sky, floating, and it looks back up to it, looks down to you. He lowers the scepter down, and all of you will feel yourselves floating upwards. You look back, it's like there's an invisible pair of wings on your back because you can feel the displacement of air as though there are wings there. And he flies you up to the pyramid steps. and then releases you from the scepter.
Oh my god.
It was amazing. I never thought I'd lived it. Whew. I'm so excited.
Speak to me about your people and your troubles, he says, as he starts. He actually starts walking up the stone steps of the pyramid with you.
Okay. Oh, he's walking with us. Well, there's this organization called the Symphony that's run by this feller called Martin Poole, who dabbles in occult artifacts and lights in the pain and torment of others.
I have not heard of this creature.
Well, he deals with other fellas. I think he dealt with this creature called Ab Hoth once. And then he tried to do some other things with some other occult things, summoning arcane gates. Let's see, what else?
You speak of Lucifer, he says as though you're an idiot.
Oh, well, never did read the Bible much. Not since I was a little girl, but
he does not look happy.
Just doing more research on the Hyperboreans. Well, they also he started this ritual or something in which it starts the 10 plagues that took place in Egypt, and well, it's something to do with. Unfortunately, he claims that Mr. Sloan here is his son, and he wants to duel him or something for power.
You are clearly very confused.
I'm very
Your
old.
words make little sense.
Very confusing situation.
Perhaps are there those amongst you of superior intelligence than yourself?
Well, statistically, maybe not, but I do have probably the onset of dementia at this point. Father Carmine here and Sloan, they seem to have different opinions on what's going on.
He looks at the group of you, and as though it is taking him like a great will in order to like be bothered with doing so, he points the scepter, and your tongues feel different, and they can move to form different syllables than they used to, as though they've been trained. And for the duration of this, essentially, he's cast comprehend languages on you. You can speak Hyperborean with him. Speak.
When are we? When are
Did
we?
you say Lucifer?
He did mention Lucifer.
Where is Lucifer? With you or in the pit?
So you have no idea of where you are? I see. Well, you are in our homeland, on the dirt. We will not stay here much longer, for travel is necessary. Lucifer is not with us. He is here on the dirt, on the cast down place. We have visited to understand this place more.
But he was one of you?
Aye.
The greatest among them.
The Creator, the one, the Grandfather, created many of us. Some good, some evil.
Where is
What of the-
Lucifer now?
Resigned to this world. She spoke of one whose form perhaps he has taken. He is a trickster and deceiver.
pool.
That was the word she spoke, yes. Perhaps that is the name it has taken.
Is it still... He's banished here, correct?
He nods at you as though you're doing well. Yes.
But there is a way for him to escape, is there not?
Tilts his head. Perhaps. Perhaps so. It is so far away. Such a possibility.
Or merely a sunrise for us. If your creator has a Christ, then our pool has and he looks back at Sloane, an Antichrist.
The ancient angel looks at Sloane. I see. Judgment Day, then, is what you speak of.
Yes, it comes. It comes for us all.
Then fast are the trickles of sand through one's palm. And he leads you inside the temple's entranceway itself, which is a lot cooler inside than the heat out here. He welcomes you in to a large chamber, which very much looks like a modern-day church in many ways. There are pews made out of sandstone, and inside there is an altar, and upon the altar there looks to be some kind of holy book or text. And the angel welcomes you in and says, "Then you are the disciples."
The disciples of what? Of who? Of
Looks again towards Sloane. The Antichrist. I expected more of you.
One must choose to be a disciple. Yes, that is part of being a disciple.
You don't really get much from him.
What of the book?
Book.
We call it in our time, in our land, the Necronomicon, but I believe it takes different shape throughout history. A sword, a chalice, anything. We've come here hoping that we might be able to stop this Lucifer from destroying our world, perhaps escaping, perhaps destroying other worlds.
True enough. For while he is kept on this earth, you name it, he is incapable of harming others, only those that walk the dirt, which is penance enough. If you were to be free, as Judgment Day does draw close, then more worlds, more galaxies. I will help you if I can.
Do you know what it would take for him to free himself? What would have to occur?
The 10
Sacrifice.
days. The last sacrifice. Judgment Day. The boy looks at Sloane. Will be tested. Destroying the book is nigh on impossible. Must be destroyed in every possible moment upon which it exists, but its creator, our creator, still has a hold on this earth If his hold were weakened, perhaps you would stand a chance on Judgment Day. One must imagine that Pool, as he tries to get used to the word, has been planning this for a very long time. Is ready. You, however, are acolytes, uninitiated. You are at a disadvantage. If you were to cast away the grandfather, it would allow the book to be destroyed, truly. And on the 10th day, when you fought Pool, you would stand a chance.
You're speaking of Jehovah. Speaking of God. You wish us to cast aside God.
One must. When one learns of its true nature. Not a merciful, loving creator. Well, if you have met the grandfather, then you know its ways. It created us, aye. But it never loved us.
So how do we remove God?
Well, to speak with God, one must go to heaven.
Is there a way to get there from here? I mean,
There is a way that all creatures can find heaven. Though it may not be as you remember, or as your people tell it.
are you saying we
Michael,
have to
that
die?
is...
Go ahead, Greg.
Sorry. Michael is your name, correct?
Certainly.
God would not let you kill Lucifer. Why?
If you are a father, then perhaps you understand. It may not love his children, but it certainly has favorites.
He is not a true father. Michael, if given the opportunity to kill Lucifer, how would you have done it?
Creature is deception. All it wishes for is power, and yet it does not see that he is being manipulated by the father. He looks towards Sloane. The boy is the key. Same blood flows through his veins, and that blood has power. Boy, how much do you know of your father?
I know. He is different. I know he is powerful. And I know that he cannot die by conventional means. And I know that he is evil.
Perhaps you are the only one to be able to destroy him. When he is at his most powerful, he is also at his most weak. On the 10th day, then you must strike. Though there will be one to betray you. A Judas.
Understood.
Should we be worried that one might rise to attempt to take Pool, Lucifer, whomever's place?
If you destroy him, truly, then you need not fear, for darkness will have been cast away from your earth. Though you should know that God sentenced you to this by allowing Lucifer to roam it. But there is only one.
So, you are saying to defeat Pool, we must first cast aside God. Then
Correct.
I am to kill Pool.
Correct.
Then I suggest
Though
we
in doing
first start.
so, one must fear for your own life. For if you cast away God, who is still in there, and he points for the first time, basically at your heart, and your father, your blood, why, there is only one left. But first, then, to see the casting away the grip of the grandfather, one must go to heaven. He says that as if it's an obvious thing of how to get to heaven.
Hmm. And then when we are at heaven, how do we cast him aside?
I leave
Or
that
it.
to you. For this is your world, and you know how it manifests better than any other.
Very well. So, how do we get to heaven?
One dies.
From what I've been told, I have done that a few times, so that
You-
will not be a problem.
Cannot truly die. Not whilst your father lives.
That explains
We
a lot.
don't all have to go, right? I
I
don't
have
want to
no
die. I'm just
stake.
throwing that out there.
In this, if you wish to go to heaven, then you may go. If you wish to stay, then you can find your own way back home.
Don't worry, Mr. Delgado. All you need is a soul.
He is correct.
Oops.
The angel
Delgado
looks
goes quiet. for a
interested in
long
what that
time.
noise was or meant, clearly having no real, like, he's not tracking what that sound really translates to.
Wop wop.
Michael, what other ways besides dying can we get to heaven? Because I do not intend to die, but I do wish to eventually go home.
We few of my kin, we are favored children who can travel into the gates of heaven. You are not so blessed, if you see it as a
Well-
blessing.
Please bless me.
Why?
Our people, we don't die so easily, and some of us die worse than others.
Death is not to be feared.
Oh, I disagree, Michael. I fear it greatly.
Looks at you now with interest. What awaits you when you die?
I don't claim to know everything about what's happening or the afterlife, He looks around to his companions, and there's a definite fear. He's sweating. But I know that something terrible awaits me when I die. It's in my blood. It's in my dealings made in my youth.
Ah.
Did you make a deal with the devil?
Did not the sun cast out the merchants? The bankers? I remember
The temple is
a holy place.
In our world, money is holy. The bankers are the priests. Things have
He
changed.
nods as though he's learned. So this is hell.
I
suppose that's
suggest
all
you go to your
perspective.
I suggest you go to your priests, Mr. Delgado, and perhaps they can sell you a ticket to heaven.
I wish to help you, Father Carmine, all of you, make things right.
Right for whom?
For the human race. Not
Again, not an answer.
As far as I can see, the human race is nothing worth saving. I care only for the other constellations.
well, what's good for us is good for you. If Martin Poole escapes,
As you mentioned, it does not require all of you.
Mr.
I
Delgado.
will leave you. Yeah, Michael says, I will leave you.
I have one question, Archangel. Do you like Lucifer?
Like. No.
Love. Would you wish to see him dead?
He nods. Like is not the word. Fear and respect are emotions I feel. This place is strange, and we will leave it soon. Your kind will come. Lucifer will have his own paradise to rule over. Best of luck.
I
to
have
you.
a... Would you like to achieve victory, Michael, over a respected enemy?
Some wild magic surges hit Michael. He continues to look at you.
If we separate from Jehovah, my power will be weakened, perhaps gone. Would you take its place? I will act as your vassal, and I will win in your name.
You sense a like an almost prideful look as you can tell that Michael's thinking of himself as a ruler. Perhaps
This war is not over.
Perhaps. We shall see. I bid you farewell and good luck in your travels. wherever it is you find yourselves. And he ends his gaze on Lewis. And his wild magic surges are that he is immune to any bludgeon not forged on this world, which is incredibly accurate. Good luck killing this guy. Next one is the next person nearby to use magic is restored to full hit points. He makes the sign of the cross and leaves.
Father Carmine does too,
Fuck yeah.
which is a magic spell.
You're restored to full hit points.
Meta.
The Archangel Michael leaves, and the rest of you are left in what is essentially a very simple chapel inside of this pyramid floating upside down in ancient Hyperborea. To say that your sanities perhaps are fraying would be underestimating things at this point.
Mildred is just looking around at everything, touching like things and expecting. Like she never thought she would get to see ancient Hyperborea, and it's just like a kid on Christmas right now.
So who, if it doesn't take all of us, who should go to heaven? Sloan, he said that you can't die, right?
Oh, I can die. I just come back.
Every time. To me, that
You're more mine. Every time. This is Sloan hearing grandfather whispers tender ministrations in his ears.
So does that mean that you could do it? You come back?
I feel that I need to do it, yes. Whether I come back or not when separated from God, well, that's a different matter. But this is something I need to do. If we are to prevent Judgment Day.
But that we could.
And how do we get back? How do we get back to our time?
Life finds a way. As he said, not all of you need to come, but the more of us there are, the stronger we are.
And the easier it'll be to regroup on the other side. As he said, those who
Indeed.
stay here will have to find their own way back.
Indeed.
Well, I have to stay and look for my own way back.
What deal did you make, Mr. Delgado, that dying terrifies you so?
Money, power, for my soul. And when I die, should I die, an eternity of torment. If I die, I could not join you in heaven, even if I wanted to. That is the truth.
I'm a like insight check that with my
Sure.
psychology. Yeah. Success.
He's telling the truth.
Okay. She'll just kind of nod. And I see. Do you have any ideas on how you're going to get back?
Oh, one or two. Unpleasant, but better than the alternative. And I think the four of you will be more than plenty to face down God.
Well, just try and promise me you won't make any more deals with the devil.
I don't
I have
intend
a
to.
suggestion.
Oh,
I believe there's one way around your deal. You are a businessman, Mr. Delgado. You know that contracts in and of themselves are paper weighed up by courts and the power of the two that signed them. What if you signed a contract with someone more important?
as I said, I have an idea or two, and I don't want to hold you up any. How are you, Father? When you go there and you stare into the face of your God, will you be able to do it?
I wish you would be there to see.
Well, I hope to see you on the other side, and you can tell me all about it.
We could crucify you, Mr. Delgado.
Oh, no. That sounds awful.
Oh, it is. But as it was for the Christ, as it was for his apostles, upon death by crucifixion, they were all granted access to heaven. Original sin cast aside by the Son, dying upon his cross, guaranteed them of a ticket. That is the highest of contracts.
I'm afraid my constitution isn't up for crucifixion today.
Good for you. You won't hang there.
I have a mother. Very interesting woman. I think that she might be able to help me even here.
Sounds very interesting. What kind of powers does she wield?
Oh, I don't know. Witchcraft, magic, I really don't understand it all. All I know is that she claims to owe me one.
Yeah, all mothers care very deeply about their children.
A cold check, Mildred.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. Let's see what I can find out. It didn't roll on the thing. The dice flew too violently. Oh, there we go. That's a hard success there.
Witchcraft, motherhood.
The
occult
swamps of
rituals.
Louisiana.
The swamps of Louisiana. Yeah, this is a little odd. Maybe to Mildred, rings a couple of bells here and there.
Yeah.
Of someone known as the grandmother. Certainly, that strikes a similar chord to the grandfather. That's really weird, actually. Now you think about it.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baba Yaga is a demon or witch. She appears throughout history in various different locations in her hut.
Okay.
And she strikes deals with mortals, which inevitably end up with horrible sticky ends for them
Oh,
in exchange for
okay. You know, I think I've actually heard about your mother. bells are being rung upstairs. You wouldn't happen to have ever heard any of her friends come over when you were small and say, "Oh, hello, Baba Yaga, I'd love to make a deal with you about this," and then it just ends up horribly for them? Maybe.
I've not spent a lot of time around her, but yes. I believe you know my mother.
Well, I don't think we've ever met, but I've heard things. She has quite the reputation in certain occult circles, and she's also occasionally known as the Grandmother, which is awfully similar to the Grandfather. We're just treading on some thin ice here all around, I feel.
Yeah, in theory, you have to have, there's takes two to make a kid, right?
It's true. You gotta have two to make a man. I mean, I've done it multiple times at this point.
So, Mildred, what do you suggest? I cannot die. I don't want to stay here on this temple pyramid place. I don't want to be crucified. I know I have a squeamish constitution, but I want to help without a terrible end.
Well, you might be screwed a little there from the start if that's your actual mom. Sometimes there's things in life we have to do that we don't want to do. I don't know if your mother ever told you that, because you said she wasn't around a lot.
No, she wasn't, and
I can see why now. Well, as horrible as crucifixion sounds, I mean, I don't know if it's guaranteed to work, but I think
I would say it's a stretch.
It's really...
Oh, pish posh, it sounds perfectly feasible.
I think you should... Good heavens, she says she owes you one.
That's right. She said if I'm in trouble, just to call on her, and she will help me out of my predicament.
I'm sure she would. You're in a sticky situation, Mr. Delgado, I must say. I think either way, you're gonna get screwed over in some regard or another. Definitely don't deal with Mr. Poole anymore, and we're trying to off Mr. Grandfather Whisper, so I guess dealing with your mother may be the best solution here, or at least your most preferable one. It's not a crucifixion. Those are my 2 cents.
Well, thank you, Mildred, and thank you, Father Carmine, for offering to crucify me, but I think you should all go on your way, and I will do what I have to.
Would you like us to wait while you call your mother to see if she comes to pick you up?
That way, no, you don't get left behind at the bus stop. We don't want you waiting here for years. It seems awfully irresponsible not to wait.
I suppose so. Just get this over with, then. Mother, Baba Yaga, can you hear me? It is your boy, Luis Delgado, the banker. Hello.
The fires which are lit in here to light suddenly snuff themselves out, and you feel a darkness enter into the room for the first time in what has been a very holy and religious space. Also, something which enters into your nostrils is the smell of swamp water. That fetid, gagging stench of swamp water enters into this room, into this chamber. And a near impenetrable darkness enters into the space, and you hear, "Boy, I wondered when you'd call with your friend."
Yes, I'd hoped it would not be so soon, but here we are.
I knew you'd call. I told you, didn't I?
Yes, Mother, you did. You are always right.
Mother always knows. It's so nice to meet your friends. You never introduced me, but I've been keeping tabs. Father Carmine, Mildred, Seth, and my favorite, Sloane. Lovely young man.
That's free wild magic surges for Baba Yaga. She needs him. She needs him.
So, how can I help you little boys and girls today?
It's nice to meet Lewis's mother. Charming young lad.
Oh, one of the believers, yes. Sorry about all your friends being killed. That was terrible to watch.
Well, I'm sure it was. It was terrible to hear about. Only imagine watching.
The Baba Yaga's wild magics are like her teeth turn to diamonds 1d4 hours after they are extracted, which she probably needs with Lestay Hurty for him. 1463. Baba Yaga recently took an inviolable vow, but can't quite remember it. All right. And every living creature in the world falls asleep for 10 minutes. All right. 10 minutes is 16 minutes. Everything in the world falls asleep. Cool. You guys wake up about 16 minutes later after Baba Yaga speaks. And you pick yourselves up from the floor, and you'll see that Baba Yaga herself is standing here. She is huge, massive jowls. This woman that stinks. You can see like parts of her body which look like they're rotting, at the very least gone like fetid and gangrenous. She wears like she's right now wearing what looks to be like antlers, stag's antlers over her head. And she's got these like huge greasy jowls with flabs of fat which roll across her body. She's gigantic. She's nigh on, infeasibly large for any kind of creature to be. She fills up this room.
Sorry about that. I just wanted to take a closer look at you all. So, help, was it?
Yes. Well, for me, and if my friends need help, that's on them. You know the basis of my old deal, and it seems that the only way out of this place is to die. I was hoping you might provide me an alternative to return to my time.
You're not trying to get to heaven, are you?
Well, if I can without dying.
She looks like she was joking, and now she's like, oh.
Oh, that is a spot of bother, isn't it? Need you all go? You could leave my son behind.
They could, and if I get left behind, I would like to go back to the future where I'm from, rather than stay here in this terribly hot and lonely and sugarless place.
Also, no
Perhaps I could work out something. How do the rest of you intend on getting there? You're not going to kill yourselves, are you?
I mean, I don't think we could, right? It's not supposed to kill ourselves. That would be a sin, wouldn't it?
We're all gonna have to kill each other.
Interesting. So, off to heaven, my little boy. Off to meet his granddaddy. Do say hi.
My granddaddy. His name was Charles. Charles Delgado.
Oh, good heavens. Does this mean you're Sloane's second part, brother? Oh, good heavens.
Are we all
You
related? All
honestly
of us?
believe that? Oh, what a hoot.
Well, I'm too old.
Mother, if you have information about my parentage, I think I've waited 60 plus years already. Now would be a good time to know what you know.
I think it's time you go to heaven and figure it all out, don't you? Luckily, I know the back entrance. Don't tell anyone. Grandfather never did take good care of it, if you know what I mean. Had to get him checked out a few times.
I licks her fat, greasy lips.
Well, do tell, Mother.
Talking about his prostate. I'm kidding, of course. I can get you in there. I don't know how long, though. You know, people like you aren't meant to stay there for too long, else things start getting nasty.
Well, that's good to know. I think we have a solid plan, and we're going to go there and execute that plan and then leave. When we leave, will we be able to leave the same way? Do you have any suggestions for us?
More than a few. Yes, you'll be able to leave the same way as you came in, but I'll warn you, it might be a little messy.
Metaphorically, right?
Both physically and mentally. It will cost something, you know. What do you intend to do when you get there? Family visit? Going over for tea?
I think a conversation with, this Grandfather Whispers, or God, or whomever you want to call him, is what we have in mind.
A conversation? Really? Does that mean you're going to try and kill him?
Can you? Can he be killed?
Kill him? No. No. Idiot boy. Stupid, aren't you? Can't kill him. But maybe you could send him away for a while at least. A few millennia perhaps. Long enough probably, isn't it?
Well, how would we go about doing that?
Lord, if I know. Don't you think I would have done it if I knew how? Long ago. He's a real nuisance. Useful in some ways. Used to be.
Well, that is the plan. So, if you can get me there or get us there without anyone dying or being terribly maimed, I would appreciate that. And we can go on our way.
Maimed. No, I wouldn't say terribly maimed. Mentally scarred, that's true, yes. Physically deformed, probably, yes. But, brutally wounded? No. Mommy's better than that. Just don't tell anyone I'm using this entrance, okay?
My lips are sealed.
Wish mine were. Right, let us be on our way then. Are you all going the same route, or are you going with the traditional?
I would prefer not to die.
Yes.
All things being equal.
Lovely, Seth. Such smooth skin you have.
Thank you. I tend to exfoliate constantly.
Your hungry look.
Very well. What about the rest of you? Are you all coming with? Suggest that you do if you don't want to get lost.
Sure.
Why not? It's not every day you get to meet one of your friends' mothers that happens to be older than I am. Most of my friends' mothers are, well, dead.
By
Just sneers
going
at them.
this way, do we owe you anything?
Don't worry. I'll take out all the debt on my boy.
Oh, then
Unless
I'm
anyone
definitely
else-
going.
Unless anyone else wants a mother. Ever had a mummy, Seth? You'd like it.
My mother raised me fine, thank you. I've dealt with those issues.
Really? Well, think of me more like a sugar mummy.
Oh, nah, that's okay, thanks.
So, going this way, is there any price that the rest of us take for traveling
Maybe.
with you?
Haven't decided yet. Got anything to
In-
offer?
She kind of like looks directly at your groin.
I'd rather die. Thank you.
That could be arranged. You know, your blood carries with it a great deal of value, so...
So people have been saying.
How about just a drop of it?
No.
No deal.
I would rather go in through death. I feel it is safer than dealing with this creature.
Your choice. I'll accept blood from any of you as well. You want to hand some over to Mummy, or if you want to hand his over as well. But if you're really, really not going to go, then I'll do it for free. First one's on the house, as they say. Afterwards, it starts to pay.
So no catches whatsoever.
Of course, you can trust Baba Yaga.
And he looks at
Well,
all
if-
the others to kind of.
If Lewis has already started a tab, it's rude not to just put everything on his bill. I'm sure we can, make it square at the end of all of this.
Oh, I bet you could.
Dial of
So
cylinders.
Lewis started Coke.
Mother, let's just put this all on my tab, as it were.
Let's do that. Yes. All right, then. We'll see about that blood later, Sloan. One way or another, I always end up with some. Right. If you'd all come here for a hug, we can get things started.
She like opens up her huge jowly arms, which would be enough to like group hug everyone. Like she's huge.
Sloane walks in.
Come on in, it's the only way. Come on.
Father Carmine walks in.
There we go. Come on in.
I'm just gonna take Seth's arm.
There it is. Yes.
And after a second's hesitation, she pulls him and he steps forward.
How long has it been, Will, since we were like, how long were we tortured for?
So mechanically, you can gain back some magic points.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
So we'll say it's been 24 hours for you.
okay, cool. I will put a scarf around Seth then before we go on and do the call earthly serenity, so that way he doesn't feel any pain and he temporarily doesn't lose any sanity, but then it all comes at the end of the spell if he loses any, but it might help him
Sure.
get through this.
It's fine. It's fine. She embraces you all, and there we go. And arms wrap around you all, and she squeezes you all in, and you feel the sweaty flabs of meat that are her arms pressing around you.
Ah, that's better. It's the only way.
And she releases you.
Right, now that's out the way, we can get to the ritual.
She draws out a dagger from one of her flabs, and you'll watch as she begins to take like these jowls and just like slice through some of the meat, like she's cooking, like she's cutting up like pork tenderloins or something, just like slamming it off her arms. There's like strips of meat that fall onto the floor, until her arms are like down to the bone. Watching this process will require everybody to roll me a sanity check.
Nat 20.
Nat 20.
Nat 20.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Everyone.
roll it. Why not?
Okay.
It's fine. Fine. We fail it. That's
It's fine. Lindy, you failed that roll.
and
Boy.
oh boy,
Oh.
indeed. Oh, lovely.
It's
That's a
fucking
10.
horrifying. You lose 8 points of sanity, and you are horrified by what you see her doing as she just cuts away the flesh to the bone in what is perhaps the most brutal ritual that you've seen. And it takes a while as well. It's not instant. Like, this takes 5 or 10 minutes or so of just watching her just flay her own flesh off her skin. She's standing there and kind of grinning at the pile of meat on the floor. She presses her hands down into the slick, wet blood and begins to chant and speak in ancient Hyperborean. And there's a couple of giggles and cackles in there as well.
I understand it at least, but
Yeah.
I also gain an indefinite insanity.
Mm-hmm. And that's cool. We'll get to that in a second. And as her hands come up, she moves to press like the wet blood on her hands, like across your foreheads. And she does so, and just sort of like places the blood across your foreheads as the completion of this ritual comes to its end. And as you feel the blood touch onto your foreheads, your heads feel incredibly heavy for a moment, and you can really feel it's almost like you've been working out really hard, and you can feel like the blood pumping really like strongly through your body, particularly through your temple right now, where she's placed the blood. And you'll notice that's already Mildred, awesome. You'll notice that your eyes are growing heavy and your vision is becoming red with blood. This is perhaps something which Lewis has experienced before, something along these lines, this witchcraft, this voodoo, if you will, as she speaks the word in ancient Hyperborean, essentially is leave this place. And as you close your eyes, you find yourselves reopening them, no longer in the place that you once found them, that you found yourselves in. Instead, you're no longer in the temple. You are in some kind of office room, which has been completely shelled out, and there's no office furniture in here at all. It's like if you've ever walked into an office which is being built, or a house which is being like pre-made, that's kind of what you're in right now. It looks like it's been thoroughly shelled out, and there is one wooden door which leads out of this area. No desks, no chairs, so like very basic carpeting underfoot, and a group of you find yourselves here.
It would seem heaven is renovating.
Really wanted to change the scenery.
How is this heaven? I don't understand.
Perhaps it is just what our minds perceive to be heaven. A vision.
This looks like hell. This looks like hell to me. Office work is no.
Sloan will
I
move
think
out
that
the
God
I
door.
wishes us to see.
Precisely.
Okay. Someone's going to the door?
Yeah, Sloan's going to go up to the door and open it.
Cool. Lewis, you'll notice something about you is different. You feel even less yourself than you did before, and have you ever woken up and just for no reason experienced like anxiety or just a feeling of like utter dread when you wake up? There's nothing which you can quite place your finger on. Obviously, you're in dire circumstances, but you feel this almost overwhelming existential dread when you find yourself in this place. Something has definitely changed. As you open the door, it opens up into a corridor, Sloan, and there are workers in here. They appear to be quite literally building. They are redecorating, remodeling. There's like 5 or 6 people out here, men and women, look to be fairly normal people as far as you can tell. And they are just building away at, say, furniture. They're like flat packing, they're carpeting, sanding things down, dusting things off. It's quite noisy in here.
Is there what would be like an office that I could see on the distant wall?
It does look that down the end of the corridor there is another office, yeah.
He'll make his way towards that office. Slowly and carefully.
The workers notice that you're there, but don't seem to take too much heed of you. They will appraise you, like, give you nods and that kind of thing, and look towards you, clearly recognizing you to be other people, but they don't seem to interact with you in any other way. Does anyone do anything with these, or speak to these people at all on their way past?
Sloan ignores them.
Do any of them look familiar?
They don't, actually, no.
I don't think
Do they-
Mildred interacts with them.
I don't think we
Are
should
they
draw
wearing,
attention
like-
to ourselves.
They're wearing like modern clothes. They look human.
Yep.
Is there anything
Yep,
that looks
definitely.
inhuman about them?
If you look closely at one of them, you don't notice anything which looks inherently inhuman about them. Perhaps there's something behind their eyes that looks different to most people that you've seen before. There is like a fervor in their eyes at what they're doing right now. They clearly are incredibly invested in, and they can't take away any time from doing this because they're clearly working on something that is important to them. They kind of nod over towards you, and then you look as they go back to their work. It's almost slavish, but you can tell that they want to be doing this. This isn't something that they're being forced into doing. They're having fun in a way. They're certainly getting something out of it.
I think
Is there
we have
any
to
type of
hurry
company?
if we don't want to end like these.
Go ahead, Greg.
I was just gonna say, is there any type of identifier for the company? Like, strangely as it sounds, like a letterhead or some type of company?
No, as far as you can tell, they don't have any badges or insignias or any letterhead. There's no name on the office door that Sloan is approaching right now. It looks like it's all under construction. The door, when you come to it, Sloan, is actually locked. And there doesn't appear to be another way out of here.
He'll knock the door.
The one of the workers looks over and says, "What are you doing?"
I am looking for someone.
Who are you looking for?
God.
Why? How did you get here? Who? He starts to become very distressed and like worried. He's clearly upset.
Oh, no, they're dearie.
I don't
Just here to-
understand how. What?
We have a meeting. Is there-
I can't help you. I need to do this. You need to be doing
What are you
this.
doing?
He looks at you like you're crazy.
What do you
Yeah,
hear?
we should be doing this too, but we're supposed to be one floor down.
I can't
Can you
help
help
you.
us
We
get
need to
down
be,
there?
We need to be building.
Then carry on building.
You need to be
And
building as
slow-mo.
well. He like hands you like a hammer, some nails.
What's the door made of?
That was about to be my
It
question.
looks like wood. Yeah, it looks like wood.
Seth takes the hammer.
Yeah.
Well, the easiest way to go about this is if you take the frame off the outside of the door first. Then the rest comes really easy. You can use
Should
my
be
knit
building
needle as
now.
a wedge.
Yeah, he like casts an eye over you as you're looking at the door, but like seems to be too busy working.
Yeah, just
Are you
building
trying to
over
take
here.
down the?
Are there other tools around here?
Yeah, plenty of tools around.
Okay, like Seth kind of like looks at y'all and like looks at the tools in the door, and then Seth turns around and is just like tapping the wall, acting like he's working, like just basically
Sure.
trying to cover for them as he kind of like motions to the door.
So we break the door down.
Or try to pick it.
If you believe you can pick it, please feel free.
I can most certainly try.
Actually, you know what? Sloan isn't too bad at lockpicking, I think. Well, he's got 30.
Sure.
I guess he'll have a look at the
There
lock.
you go. You always using that 20 if you want it.
No, he hasn't got a clue how to pick this lock.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
you try, but the lock is clearly beyond you. It doesn't feel like strong, like emphasis on this door being like a flimsy bit of plywood that they've put up. Really, it's
Let's try to
you
shoulder
can
our way
barge this
through.
thing. Yeah. But you won't need to roll. It really is quite like just a new build. Haven't really put it up. Just a piece of plywood there, really, with a lock on it for now. And you can like shoulder barge it in. The guy kind of looks like really concerned when you do that. But you enter into an office, and there's another man in here. Yeah, he's at a desk. He's wearing a suit, and he looks very surprised to be seeing you. This guy is maybe like 40 years old or so, but when you look at him, his face seems to move somewhat ambiguously to form different shapes of faces. At one time, he looks like an older man. Occasionally, he looks like a younger man. Sometimes he's white. Sometimes he looks more Hispanic. Sometimes he looks. It's one of those faces that you can never quite put your finger on what this guy looks like for a moment. He looks. What are you doing here? Excuse me. Aren't you supposed to be building?
We are looking for someone.
I don't know why you're not building. We're all here just trying to build.
What are you building?
Can't you see what we're trying to build here? Why are you even here if you're not meant to be building?
A visit.
We're management. We're here
There
to-
are no visitors allowed here. Now, if you're not going to be building, I suggest you leave.
Look, I'm the new manager. I need to speak with the top guy about new plans to alter the change of the construction blueprints and all that. You wouldn't
Listen,
understand.
You can't change the construction. It has to be perfect. Now, if we don't
Exactly.
have everyone working on this, we're not going to be able to make it perfect.
You see, we
We've
found a
tried-
flaw.
So many times, and we're not going to fail this time, okay? This time we're going to get it just right. Now, will
Well-
you please help us?
Are you trying to get to God?
Trying to... No, we're trying to build his home. We're trying to build paradise here, heaven. I know that
Building
maybe
back.
you're new, but we have to get it just right, because if it's not just right, he won't have it. Understand?
When does he
I
come
think I
by to
understand.
inspect?
God is all around us. God is in every
Then stop
timber beam
working.
of this place. What? We can't stop working. If we stop working, how will we be able to build it? That doesn't make any sense.
Stop working, and we'll see if you're doing okay. I'm sure God will show up to wonder why you've stopped, and then we'll be out of your hair.
He mustn't come by. If it's not perfect, he won't have it. We have to build until he comes.
Sloan starts to walk back out into the corridor where they're building, and he's going to physically take the tools off everyone.
Like physically trying to remove them.
Yeah, if they resist, he's just going to yank it off them.
How many times
Okay.
have you tried building this?
So I don't remember. I don't. It doesn't matter. We just need to build it right this time. This time we're going to do it. I know we are.
What
Maybe
did you
this
do
is the right
wrong
way.
last time?
It wasn't. It just wasn't right. It wasn't right. He wouldn't have it.
And what happened when it wasn't right? What did he do?
He looks confused, as though he's trying to remember something. He sent the others somewhere else. A new assignment. I doesn't matter. Look, we just need to build it right, and then it'll be okay. And then we can live here and be at peace.
You said he's all around. When you failed him before, did he leave you?
Yes, but he always comes back. We always try again, and he forgives us.
He looks to Father Carmine. He pulls out his shotgun and he says, I think we're here to tear it down.
We're here to make them stop.
Listen, we can't stop now. I don't know if... Are you all carpenters as well? Because maybe you can help us. There's some parts that we need assistance with that we can't... I need more labor. Maybe you can... We can't stop.
Or maybe if we
Where-
build
where-
it perfect.
Where are those parts at?
He goes like to one side behind his office desk, and he's got like, you know, rolls of carpets basically.
Wait.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the building plan? You're following a plan, of course, right?
He looks at you as though he's thought of that for the first time. What? A plan? Yes, there was a plan. I know. He goes into his office desk and he gets out a page, and the page is immediately recognizable as a page from the Necronomicon. It is skin, and he kind of like puts it down, and you can see like blueprints formed in the ink on it. The plan, yes, you're right. We have to follow the plan. That's what we did wrong last time. We didn't follow the plan. And he like
Where's the
grabs
rest of the
carpet.
plan?
This is all we need.
Yeah, we-
Piece by piece, we build heaven. He's like out in the
Let's
hall now.
see
He's
how-
like laying down carpets and stuff. The piece of paper is still on his desk though.
Yeah. I'll take a look at that.
Wait,
Uh-huh. It's gonna be bad.
You
I
want someone looked at the Necronomicon? Is that what I heard?
know. Yeah, you heard. I'm looking at this plan.
Cool.
Yeah.
Roll me a sanity check.
I'm a nat 20 that. I know to nat 20 those.
That's a cool idea.
That's a great
We can,
idea.
Let's lower that from a D20 down to a D10. That
Okay.
seems fair.
Seems super fair.
5 points of sanity.
Okay.
As Mildred, you stare at the Necronomicon. We're going to say your indefinite insanity is to be obsessed with the Necronomicon beyond all reason. You must have this book. Like, it is perfect. This is heaven. And it is the most holy text that you've ever seen, and it awakens your mind into some things that you never thought possible. You realize now what all the fuss is about. You realize now why everyone has believed in this book, this Bible, if you will. As just looking at this page, you look at what is perhaps the most perfect design that you have ever seen. It is a temple that they're building. This is just the groundwork, the foundations that they're working now, but a beautiful temple, perfect in every way. Angels, stained glass, beautiful pews, handcrafted. Not a single detail is left to the imagination. This thing is, in essence, beauty. The definition of what you would say beauty is. And you realize now what they're trying to build. It is something fantastic. They're trying to build heaven. And as you stare at this page, tears start rolling down your eyes. It is as though you found something that was always missing in yourself. And the knowledge that there is a higher power, that there is a reason, something that we as humans all seek to gain, some kind of knowledge as to why we're here on this earth, is something which Mildred feels. It's beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
You watch as Mildred is just tears down her face, crying as she reads the page.
Mildred.
Father.
Mildred. Remember what we're here for.
Do you know how perfect this plan is? It's beautiful. It's stained glass there. Those are gold gilding on the floor. It's so beautiful. I understand it now. I never did before, but I feel like I understand.
We have to
The rest
tear
of
it
us
all
do as
down.
well.
Sloan picks up a sledgehammer and smashes it into a wall.
You tear through a section of the wall, which is, newly founded, and just plow through it. Everyone else around you looks shocked, and they immediately go to try and, tidy up the destruction. Oh, we're gonna have to place a new wall in here, and there's just a little bit of pandemonium from the 6 or 7 people around here.
Sloan's just going to go
Are there
around
windows?
swinging and destroying.
Okay,
Are there windows in this office?
sure, certainly there are.
Yeah, Seth, seeing Sloan do that, he just takes his hammer and throws it through the window.
Yeah, the glass shatters and the hammer flies through it as you begin to tear open this office. And
Father
all
Carmine
around you,
sits cross-legged on the floor.
yeah,
I'm sorry, Father Carmine.
Good. It's okay, I got you. The people around, the workers, are on their knees, wailing and crying as you destroy their handiwork. Lewis, are you taking part in this wanton, destruction?
Yeah. Are they doing nothing besides crying, or are they actively trying to fix
wailing.
it?
They're not trying. They are trying to actively fix it, yeah. But there's no way they can catch up with the destruction that you're doing, right? It takes hours to form this together. It takes minutes for it to destroy.
Are they gnashing their teeth?
Lewis has the shotgun in his hands, and while they're destroying the walls, he turns towards the man whose race changed again and again, and he says, "They're just going to keep rebuilding it." And he's gonna unload the shotgun into that guy.
You want me a sanity check?
I'll nat 20 the sanity check.
That's a good idea. Nonetheless, despite we'll pretty hard with some here in a second. Despite doing so, killing a man in heaven does have sanity-based consequences. Shotgunning him out in heaven is a whole thing.
Somebody quote
Just
that,
lose.
please.
3 points of sanity is what Lewis loses as, like, once again, for a moment you see the flash on this man's face. He's the farmer that you killed before. And you level the shotgun blast into him and sends him flying backwards and through the wall as he becomes part of the destruction of heaven. And as the walls begin to be torn down around you and everyone's just crying, something happens quite immediately. And the walls themselves just like cave outwards in unison, as though it were like a model house that has just been flattened by someone from above. Or if you take like like paper and like form it into some kind of like house and just like move it apart, and the house of cards just all comes falling down. That's essentially what's happened right now. And the walls just kind of flatten and lower themselves down in a huge displacement of dust and air. As several of these people are crushed underneath the walls. I'd like everybody to roll me a dexterity check to avoid being harmed by this destruction.
I'm gonna nat 20
Nat
that
20.
because I'm old.
Alrighty.
Nat 20.
Sloan is pretty dexterous, so he's gonna go, and he has a hard success.
Ooh.
Alrighty, and
Father Carmine needed a 60 and rolled a 60.
nice. That is just as well. The group of you dive out the way of this, essentially rubble which is falling down all around you. And it's a few moments, perhaps up to a minute, before all of this dust is like cleared. You have to cough and spluttering, the sawdust getting into your face, into your eyes, until eventually you can see around you. The other people here have been crushed and are dead. Their bodies just crumpled. Some of them are still alive, just about surviving through this. Beyond, out of this huge complex, which was this building, all around you see that elsewhere, this building where they were working in other parts of it has also similarly been flattened, and they fell to a similar fate. It is, hundreds upon hundreds of feet wide. Several hundred, perhaps thousands of people may well have been working on this structure at any one time. Before you, in the near distance, there is a hill, and upon this hill, there is something which is a flame. It's just burning hot hill, and at the top of it, it would seem to be some kind of bush. A very quite literal, gigantic burning bush stands before the group of you, and it looks like it would take some time to walk up to this edifice, which has been destroyed. And thank you, Nat 20 for Mildred. Awesome. People around you are twitching and dying, clearly in pain. What would you guys like to do?
Father Carmine's gonna bestow a mass last rites to everybody that's there. It's odd to do so in heaven, but he will do so.
As he does that, Sloan's going to look at him and kind of like shake his head in disappointment. He'll go, "We are meant to cast out God, not pray for him for their souls." And he'll start walking towards the bush.
Faith, my son. He'll finish. It only takes about a minute and a half.
Okay. What do you guys do when the father finishes his prayer?
I'll follow Sloan towards the bush.
Yeah, start heading towards the bush.
Yeah.
You guys ascend up the hill. It's perhaps a 10-minute walk as it gets hotter and hotter to ascend this staircase of grass and dirt. Sometimes you have to quite physically, grab, pull yourself up as it's a very steep hill. By the time that you're finished, your fingernails have got mud and dirt on them, and they're caked in this dried mud. As it gets hotter and hotter, it becomes almost unbearable to be in the heat so close to this raging furnace. As you reach the top, however, and look out, you can see that there is a small hut up here. For those of you who have visited Grandfather Whispers before, Father Carmine and Sloane, you recognize this hut as being the one in which you spoke with Grandfather Whispers before. His little dark room with a desk and a lamp on by it where he's written his book somewhere out here in the cosmos. And the hut's door lies slightly ajar.
We are here.
Well, then let's go.
What is our plan when we get there? Do we tear it down?
I don't think we can have a plan.
They rarely survive contact with the enemy, you know that.
We are imperfect creatures.
We do what we
For
came
now.
here to do. Cast
Or
him
perhaps we
out.
Perhaps we what would happen if we cast the pages into the fire?
Isildur! Say that away from Mildred.
Cast in
Yeah,
the
I'm
fire.
holding that page.
No.
It's a good scene. It's a good scene.
Good scene.
Sloane walks in.
You watch as Sloane enters,
Carmine enters.
which is Father Carmine enters.
Seth pulls out his copy of the Art of War and then enters.
Mildred will follow behind through it and say, "The end is nigh."
It always is.
Lewis reloads his shotgun and heads in last.
Why did we let him lead through last? Forgot about that.
Shoots another dude on the way past.
An old person standing in front of Delgado. This is bad.
Shotgunning everyone in heaven. It's pretty badass, to be honest. You enter into this room. Sloane, first of all, then Father Carmine, then Seth, followed by Mildred, and finally Louis Delgado, as you enter into a dark little room. The only light in this room is a lamp. On the desk, there is a series of pages which are being written, and a pen scratches at it quite furiously. Sitting in the chair by the desk is an old man with cruelty in his eyes and a small wisp of a mustache and beard, as this pencil-thin man with a face that, of course, Sloane recognizes to be that of his grandfather. Grandfather Whispers, Yog-Sothoth, the creator, self-styled god of Earth, sits before you. He looks up and actually removes a pair of glasses as he finishes his writing and sets them down very carefully on the table as a group of you enter and stand opposite him. He looks up at Sloane expectantly.
We are here to cast you aside, so that you cannot affect our lives anymore.
He sighs with the long sigh of a disappointed parent figure. Matthew. How long will it take for me to convince you
that I'm in there.
He points towards you again.
Can't cast me out. I'm already in through the door. I'm already through the gate. I made the gate.
And he gives a almost playful, you're a silly child. How could you think that this was a possibility kind of look?
I shuffle over closer to Sloan.
If it is a gate, then it can be closed.
How do you intend to do that, Matthew?
I don't know. But there will be a way. And I will find it.
You've come here, maybe hoping for me to tell you the answer to this riddle that you think there's an answer to. I'm afraid to disappoint you, Matthew. But I can't help. Perhaps I should prove to you that I am in there.
And he looks at you, cocks his head for a moment, and Sloan starts speaking like grandfather whispers.
See, here I am.
Exactly.
Perhaps it's best that we all turn back now before things get messy.
Mr. Delgado. You know where the key is, don't you? The key to close the gate. I cannot do it.
I know, Father. I know. But I can. And he raises the shotgun towards Sloan and pulls the trigger immediately.
The shotgun clunks. Clunks. And
Should have
Sloan
expected that.
and grandfather whispers shoot you a wink.
I'm afraid heaven is my domain, and I decide who comes in and who goes out.
He releases himself from Sloane's body. And you find yourself back here.
So, any other little tricks we'd like to try? I really do have all day. You, however, I think, have less time, you might think. You see, Judgment Day.
And he gets out a little stopwatch. Flicks it open. Stopwatch looks like it's not really telling the time, by the way. And flicks it back down.
It's almost nigh.
Stuffs it back down into his breast pocket.
This night.
Fear not, though, for perhaps we will see what will happen. After all, Sloan, we will rule again once we set Lucifer free. See, I didn't really quite imagine that trapping him there would also trap some of my power there as well. Once we free him, we'll be free to go wherever we want again. Ironic, really, that we built our own prison. Had to fill it with something to do, so I made you all. It's fun while it lasted, I'll admit, but there's a little bit more to life than what Earth has to offer, wouldn't you say?
So you're releasing Lucifer?
In a manner of speaking. Release can mean many things, can it not?
So can arrogance.
Well, when Poole rises to power, he may find himself in a disadvantageous position. When my son, when I
He looks at Sloane.
kill him, we will ascend the throne again. Poole thinks that it'll set him free, that his death will allow him to rule. He's a fool. I decide who goes in and out of heaven. Tick tock, tick tock. It's getting closer now. Tick tock. Ah, can you feel it coming? Tick tock. Do you feel that? Tick. That energy.
Will, are there any reflective surfaces in here?
There aren't, I'm afraid.
What about the watch?
The watch? It's in his
Carmine's
pocket.
gonna focus.
May I see your watch again?
Looking to tell the time, are we, Father? We're hoping that I'll fall for the same trick as my boy, Morris.
No. Of course not.
Father, you know he would see that coming, as Seth kind of looks at you. And then looks back at
You're
Father
right.
Whispers.
Perhaps I should show you the watch. Perhaps you would like to spend a moment as Yog-Sothoth.
Wait, Father Carmine casts mirror on Seth's glasses and opens it to Martin Poole.
Okay. Series of things are going to happen almost immediately.
I wear glasses too. I get the anti-reflection. But
Okay, so first of all, let's remind ourselves of what this spell does. Because it's got some interesting wording on it.
uh-huh.
Father Kine, do you mind reading us out what the spell does?
Yes, to paraphrase, I can spend a certain number of magic points and open a reflective portal between one reflection and another. If I spend more magic points, I can have something pass through that portal that I've created, a la Morris in the church. I'm only opening the reflective, I can hear you, you can see me, I can see you, I can hear you side of everything.
Cool.
I want
Uh,
Poole
yeah,
to
first of
hear.
all, let's throw my power check.
I'm gonna
Good nat
nat
20.
20 that.
Cool. Let's see, doors. Okay. The surface reflection opens that sort of connection as Grandfather Whispers. Yog-Sothoth says,
Perhaps you would like to spend a moment as me to understand what it is to feel as I feel. And I could have a lot of fun with you for a moment. In that flesh prison of yours that I made so imperfectly.
he takes out the watch and holds it up next to himself.
What
As a
does this
challenge.
watch look like now that he has it open?
Ancient, old, almost dirty. This thing has clearly seen a great deal, and you can hear it all.
Mhm.
I have but one
Does it-
question.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, what kind of face does it have? Does it have something we can even comprehend? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, up 1 to 12, 1 to 24?
He hasn't,
what
he hasn't actually opened it at this point. It's,
Oh,
it's
okay,
closed. Stop working now.
closed.
Yeah, you saw him open it to himself, and then
Okay, well,
close
I'll-
it, and he.
keep my eye on it so if he does open it, I can
Sure.
see.
Father Carmine will say,
I only have one question. Yahweh. Jehovah. You were forced to put Lucifer here because he was beating you. What makes you think you'll be able to kill him now? Are you waiting for him to be weakened by his confrontation with Sloane? Matthew, Matthew, are you yourself turning to the very treachery you accused him of?
Matthew is perfection. Lucifer, he was imperfect like the rest of you. On the 10th day, when Judgment Day comes, I will judge him truly. I will not make the same mistake I did before of allowing him to rule in hell on earth. No. This time, we do things differently. Tick-tock. Would you like to try? Tick-tock. Any moment now will do. Tick-tock.
Yes, just one more moment.
He will turn and stare directly at Seth and say,
Did you hear all that? Get us out of here and we'll help you.
Seth, you've been listening to this for a moment. Somewhat confused, I'd imagine, as Seth, what's going on. You know you're in a really high-stakes scenario, but as Father Carmine sent this kind of message on your mirrors, you hear like a voice which is coming out from your mouth, which is not your own.
Why, you treacherous bastard.
And Seth, your hands shoot out at Grandfather Whispers, and huge roiling tentacles wrap their way around his throat. And you'll watch as this kind of black, inky darkness roils itself around his throat, and Grandfather Whispers is kind of held up by these tentacles. And he doesn't seem to be in pain by this. He seems more like bemused than anything, looking down at the tentacles across his neck. Like still holding the stopwatch in his hand, and says,
Really now? Is that what you think? Well, so be it, Lucifer. Now we know where we really stand when Judgment Day comes. I'll be seeing you there.
and he just like touches a finger onto the tentacles, and Seth, your body is thrown out of the building as the tentacles are set aflame, and you are sent down the hill, cast back down to Earth, and your glasses like snap and break as this happens as well. And Grandfather Whispers like returns down to Earth and points a finger at Sloane.
You are mine.
And Sloane, you disappear as he like crunches down his fist, and Sloane just kind of like whoops down out of existence. And Grandfather Whispers, standing now on his full form, looks at the rest of all of you and says,
I cast you back down to hell. Judgment Day is coming, and I will have your souls.
And he like throws out a finger towards the rest of you as you are set aflame along with Seth, and thrown back down from the hill. As you are on fire and feel yourselves being thrown backwards, cast out of heaven, you feel yourselves falling farther than the earth and back through sky, back through wind rippling past your hair, in what feels like the longest, most painful, excruciating experience of being cast down from this world by God himself, self-proclaimed. Yog-Sothoth has judged you, and yet Judgment Day is coming. As you keep falling, you land excruciatingly in a painful ball of fire and flames, tattered clothes. You awaken naked, pulling yourselves up from the ground. And as you pull yourselves up, bodies bruised, hair burnt away, naked as the day you were born. You look around you, and you're in an auditorium, in a theater, and all around you, there are clapping people in white robes, and they are applauding this arrival as you find yourselves back at the symphony's ancestral home. Martin Paul walks out onto the stage to huge cheers and applause once again, and he kneels down over you in a friendly, kind of down-to-earth manner and says, "Well, my friends, what a bizarre set of circumstances we find ourselves in. Allied once again." And he extends a hand of friendship towards the group as Lucifer offers you a bargain to kill God. And that is where we're going to end tonight's episode of Call of Cthulhu Doors to Darkness, my friend, because what better way than coming back on our old buddy, Lieutenant Martin Paul. Don called it from the start. He's a great guy. He's just trying to have a fun old time, and he's going to help the party next week in our finale, because next week is the very last episode of Call of Cthulhu Doors to Darkness as we come to our quite literally biblical ending of Judgment Day. My friends, it's been a trip. It's been a ride. If you enjoyed tonight's show, hit that follow button and join us and let us know. Definitely join into the Encounter Roleplay Discord, because that's where we're going to be chatting about the show in our downtime, our theories, our feelings, our emotions, our screaming into the eldritch void. Whew, I can't believe that it's just 1 week left and then we're done with this thing, because, man, has it been a trip. It's been a ride. But, my friends, we have to finish there. That's what we've got time for tonight. And, of course, we've got Warhammer coming up in just a few minutes' time. So stick with us, my friends, because Beneath Dark Boughs is coming to its penultimate episode as well, and I'm sure that's going to be just as chaotic as tonight's episode has been. But let's go around. Did we enjoy ourselves? And where can we find ourselves online? Fantastic storytelling from the whole team today. Tom, how was that, my friend? That's all right.
It was amazing. It was really good. It was amazing, and it's just all built up to next week, the finale. I mean, this has been an absolutely phenomenal journey throughout all these characters, throughout this entire campaign, and through the multiple campaigns, because they are all linked together. It's been unbelievable, and it almost seems surreal that it's going to end next week in the final episode. It's quite sad, actually. It is actually really sad to think that all these characters, all this world, all of these it just comes up to this moment. You know, what the fuck we're gonna do, I haven't got a bloody clue, but we'll find out next week, next Wednesday. But it's amazing. I'm speechless to how good this is. I really am. Myself, I am Redundant UK. You can check me out on Twitch. I stream Monday to Fridays and sometimes the weekend if you're extra special. And you can also check me out on Twitch, Redundant UK. And I hang out in the Encounter Roleplay Discord. As Will has said, we share theories, discuss what different ways to kill Martin Poole, but maybe not so much this week. So see you all next week.
Absolutely. And yes, whilst next week is the finale, we will be making the announcement as to what we'll be playing next season on Encounter Roleplay in this time slot. Will it be Call of Cthulhu? Will be something completely different. We'll have to wait to find out, so join us next week. Amazing. Greg, Grimjack21502, same questions as always, my friends.
Amazing. It's, you have to adjust on the fly here when you're playing with Will, and when you're a priest of God and you decide to ally with Lucifer, it shouldn't be surprising. It should simply be Wednesday. And it is, and it was, and here we are. So I cannot wait for the end of this. This is everybody from Pat Patterson to Dr. Thaddeus Lewis to Jolly to Castor. Everybody that's been played across all of these fantastic RPers, all the NPCs that we've run across from Horror on the Orient Express until now, has been building to this moment next week, where we decide when we have our new tag team partner, Satan. So It just seems right. It doesn't even seem weird anymore. I love it. Grimjack21502 on the Twitches and the Twitters. Please join me there, and you can see what I'm up to, what I'm going to promote this week on my own channel on Friday from 12 to 2 is Conan Age Undreamed Of. It has Eldritch stuff in it too, which is pretty neat, but it's got a lot of pulp fun. So join us there. But God, I've said it now for 18 months. This is where it's at. 1 to 4 on Wednesdays. And if you want to know where it's at and where it was and where it will be and when it ends, be here next week. See you guys.
Yeah, I want like a Call of Cthulhu finale bingo, which is Greg pulls out some shit out of his ass that like saves the day. Lindy cries. Don betrays the party. Tom is speechless and probably dies. And I've no fucking clue what Steph is gonna do in this finale, but I know it's gonna be magical, something with the art of war. And you know, if we can hit all 5 of those, we hit like Call of Cthulhu bingo, and something amazing happens. Yeah, I can't wait for it. Amazing. Lindy, same question.
Will. Yeah.
Yes.
You just, you had to. I'm great. I'm Lindy. I swear, Will, I will drive up to Canada and I will flip your table. Just be like, you'll knock on the door. You'll be expecting food delivery. I'm just gonna flip it. Be like, what the fuck, Will? I just want to kill Mark Poole. Ever since Voshka. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be exciting. I probably will cry. I totally didn't cry this past week at all, ever, during Gen Con. No, not me. It's fine. I'm gonna be so happy. It'll be great. I'm gonna be Mildred. I can't believe I cannot believe Mildred's still alive. When Father Carmen's like, she should be dead, I was like, yeah, fucking should be. I don't know what's up. But it's great. I can't wait for next weekend. I really can't wait to see how you wrap this all up. And fingers crossed for good things, horrible things. We'll find out. We'll find out next week. I'm not going to be paranoid about it at all. In the meanwhile, you can find me bitching and being paranoid tonight during Star Wars, but I won't be bitching about it then. Afterwards, when I'm playing video games on my channel, that's when you can find me going, oh my gosh, I can't believe Mark Poole. And you can find me during the rest of the week doing shit tons of Call of Cthulhu, Dungeons and Dragons, Firefly RPG, all that kind of good stuff. So just follow me on Twitch, Twitter, Laugh Love Lindy.
Amazing stuff. Yes. Chat is right. Pruitt's bingo is that he reads the Necronomicon because he does it all the time.
He does it every time.
It's amazing. Don, same questions, my friend.
This episode had me off balance and scared the entire time. There's so many different factions, all like different NPCs, and I feel like this is the way it is at the end of every season, that you have all of these individuals who are like, all right, now I have my plan. Well, I have my plan, and I love that part of the game. I feel like next week is so open-ended. So many different things could happen, and all of them are going to be awesome. I really look forward to seeing how it all ends, and I just love playing with these guys. You can find me on Twitter at Donathan Fry, where I also play games and tweet about stuff that I do. This week I'll shout out this Saturday at 10 a.m. I'm running Pulp Cthulhu in Space. So this is like a high action, like 80s, 90s cheesy action horror in space. That's what it's going to be. Lindy's in it. It's going to be a great crew over on Scraticus's channel from 10 a.m. Eastern to 1 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. Be fun.
Cool. Awesome stuff. And last but not least, Mr. Pruitt.
Well, it turns out today proved that my mother was right all those years ago. Role-playing has driven me into the arms of Satan himself, and I will probably not escape his loving embrace. I cannot wait to see where this goes. Seth kicks it for one more day before he kicks it, and I can't wait to see how fucking biblical the ending will be. I'm sure it'll be something that'll make Jack Deacon proud. And so, until then, it's great. I'm Pruitt. I have my game on Tuesday night, Starward Bound. Be a new video on WebDM on YouTube today. Be sure to send your clips in for RPG in this weekend as we make our triumphant return with tabletop RPG action and dick jokes. They are all there. They are all together. And until next week, chat. Y'all take it easy now.
Amazing. Fun fact, I went to look back at my old, I think it's Horror in the Orient Express notes, and I wrote down a bunch of the NPCs and just like who they were, and I wrote Lieutenant Martin Paul in brackets literal Satan probably won't come up, and now we're here. So I'm gonna get the screenshot of that to share on Twitter. So that really made me laugh the other day. But my friends, that's all we've got time for today on Call of Cthulhu: Doors to Darkness. We are going to be back same time next week for our finale, and man, you got to show up and show some support because this is the last chance for these characters to have a crack at survival and a surviving Judgment Day. We've got Warhammer Beneath Dark Bowels in just a few minutes time here. Stick with us for that. And until next time, my friends, try not to roll too many nat ones because Paul wants to be helping you out when you do. Good night, everyone. Paul's a good guy all along. Really nice guy. Make friends with him. Bye.